Hello everyone, my name is Sonali Chopra. Welcome back to another episode of Around the World. In the current global scenario, the world faces numerous complex challenges, including economic instability, climate change, health crisis, and rising geopolitical tensions. Amidst all these issues, the importance of multilateral platforms has grown, where nations work together to seek solutions. In this context, the G20 has gained even greater relevance. The upcoming G20 Summit in Brazil in 2024 is not just a platform for India, it represents a crucial opportunity for presenting solutions to global challenges. In this summit, India will showcase its diplomatic prowess by striving to establish balance among Asia, America, and Europe. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's participation in the G20 Summit in Brazil is not merely a formal presence but reflects India's significant role in global politics. In this episode, we will explore the main agenda of the G20 Summit 2024, how India's stance will be perceived in global politics, and how it will impact India's relations with other major countries like the US and China. But first, let's understand G20 in detail. The G20 or Group of 20 was established in 1999 as a global economic cooperation platform for finance ministers and central bank governors following the Asian financial crisis. In 2008, it was elevated to the level of heads of state, and in 2009, it was declared the premier forum for international economic cooperation. Currently, the G20 comprises 19 countries along with the European Union and, as of now, the African Union as a permanent member. The members of the G20 are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, UK, US, the African Union, and the European Union. The annual G20 summit addresses issues related to economic policies, trade, sustainable development, health, agriculture, energy, environment, climate change, and anti-corruption initiatives. In addition to the summit, ministerial meetings, Sherpa meetings, working groups, and special events are held throughout the year. It brings together the world's major and systemically important economies. Its members represent 85% of global GDP, 75% of international trade, and approximately 80% of the world's population. The G20 Summit 2024 has outlined its agenda, focusing on social inclusion, global reforms, and sustainability. On 9th November 2024, Brazil's G20 Sherpa, Ambassador Mauricio Lirio, presented details of the summit, which will take place on 18th and 19th November 2024 at the Museum of Modern Art in Rio de Janeiro. The summit will discuss social inclusion, reforms in international institutions like the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and WTO, and energy transition. The opening ceremony will see the launch of a global coalition against hunger and poverty. Additionally, discussions on energy transition will emphasize the promotion of clean energy sources. On the final day of the summit, Brazil will transfer the G20 presidency to South Africa, which will host the summit in 2025. In terms of global reforms, Prime Minister Modi will advocate for reforms in international organizations, emphasizing that these institutions do not fully represent current global realities. Experts suggest that India seeks greater voice and participation for developing nations. Through this stance, India will come closer to other developing countries, especially those demanding fair representation on international platforms. On this issue, India may receive support from US President Joe Biden, who also favors reform in international organizations. India's stance on social inclusion extends beyond an internal matter. It reflects policies that India wishes to share with its neighboring and other developing nations. On this topic, India will work with countries like Brazil and South Africa to emphasize the rights and development opportunities for developing countries. Sustainability and climate crisis are other key issues for the G20, and India's perspective is particularly significant. India will reiterate its commitment to green energy and sustainable development while clarifying its position on climate change. Experts indicate that while both India and China are investing in green technology, there is also competition between the two. This will be an important point in India-US relations as the Biden administration is committed to climate reforms. Positive cooperation between the US and India on this issue is likely, presenting a challenge for China. In this scenario, India could play a mediating role by striving for balance between the US and China on sustainability issues. India-China relations and India's position in global politics are also crucial. Efforts to improve stability and diplomatic relations between India and China could play a significant role in global politics. With trade tensions and strategic differences persisting between the US and China, India could emerge as a balancing power in this triangular relationship. The Indian government aims to protect its national interest while maintaining balanced trade and diplomatic relations with China. Furthermore, discussions on India's role in border disputes and the Indo-Pacific region may also take place at this platform. Ultimately, the G20 Summit provides India with an opportunity to strengthen its position on global issues. Prime Minister Modi will use this platform to bolster India's diplomatic relations and fortify India's position in global politics. India's presence at the summit will strongly represent the voice of developing nations, opening new doors to both challenges and opportunities in international relations. Through this summit, India will clearly present its views on social inclusion, global reforms, and sustainability, issues crucial to the world's future. Now it's time for this program's Sunday special segment, The World Around Us, where we will discuss other important international news. After becoming Nepal's Prime Minister for the fourth time, 𝐾𝐵 Sharma Oli will travel to China in early December, making him the first Nepali leader to choose China over India for his first bilateral foreign visit after assuming office. Notably, Mr. Oli was sworn in as Nepal's Prime Minister in July this year. Following this, he met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the United Nations conference in September, while Nepal's Foreign Minister Arzu Rana Deuba visited New Delhi in August for talks with India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar. Recently, the Indian government imposed anti-dumping duties on chemicals from China, Korea, and Thailand. This measure aims to protect domestic industries and prevent damage caused by low-cost imports. Foreign companies were selling their materials in the Indian market at extremely low prices, creating difficulties for Indian companies. With this duty, the prices of imported chemicals from these countries will rise, giving Indian producers a better chance to compete in the market. This decision is part of India's effort to strengthen its industrial capabilities, which will contribute to long-term growth in the domestic economy. The December 2024 update in the US visa bulletin has raised hopes for many Indian applicants, particularly in certain green card categories where there has been progress. This news brings relief to applicants who have faced long delays in visa processing, affecting their family and career plans. Some Indian applicants are now a step closer to realizing their American dreams. The acceleration in green card processing after years of waiting is a joyous moment for many Indian professionals and their families. Now viewers, as we conclude this discussion, let's note today's question. Analyze India's strategic priorities and diplomatic efforts at the G20 Summit to be held in Brazil in 2024. For more informative content, like, share and subscribe. and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.